Hello, welcome back everyone. Um, this week we're gonna be looking at the chapter of the mystery of sex transmutation. Last week we looked at the chapter of the power of mastermind, and I explained that as we get in at the end of the course, we'll be looking at more abstract ideas, more of the spiritual side of the manifestation. Um, and your understanding of this section of the course is which will actually enable you to join a success society. So like I said, the these last few chapters gonna be quite abstract because it's mainly dealing with the spiritual side of our being. Okay, without holding you further, let's straight jump into it. First I'll explain the meaning of the word transmute, because the title of the chapter is the sex transmutation. Just for clarification, the word transmute simply means transferring one form of energy into another. And if you recall, last week when we looked at the chapter of the mastermind, we referred to human being made up of both energy and matter, and the emotional sex, in a sense, brings a state of mind, and it's because of this ignorance of the subject of sex, people usually associate, when people think about sex, they they associate mainly with the physical counterpart and actually forget the energy side of them. So today I'm gonna be revealing the hidden message. Remember last week when we said that how nature uses energy to create, as nature uses energy as its building block. So when we have an emotion, any emotion is literally energy seeking ways to manifest himself into matter, but it all depends on what or who you want this energy to manifest to. So just to clarify that, the emotion of sex, okay, um the emotion of sex, um better, the energy of sex has a possibility of free of of has the possibility of free constructive potentials. So meaning that the energy of sex has three ways that one can use it, and one of the way that you can use the energy of sex, and that's by recreating mankind, by having babies. um and one, the second way that you can use this energy is by maintaining your health. um and the third way, which we're gonna be focusing on mainly on this course, is how you can transmute an ordinary thought into those thoughts of geniuses through the energy of sex. Okay, and I'm gonna explain how we're gonna use this throughout this chapter. Um, and then just to give a lot of example, because in thought of success we always like to give a real life based example so you guys can understand what I'm trying to say more easily. So before I get into that, I'll just simplify what is sex transmutation. Sex transmutation simply means the switching of your mind from thought of physical expression of sex to some other channel. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by this is that when you having a sex urge, or when you're thinking sexy thoughts in your head, instead of you just going with your initial instinct where is either find a partner and have sex intercourse, you could actually use that energy um to channel it into something else, and I'll explain how the technique works as we go through. Sex desire is one of the most powerful desire. Once driven by this desire, one develop keenness of imagination, courage, willpower, persistence, and creative ability that was unknown to you at any other time. Okay. um the desire of sex is so strong that men freely run a risk of their life and their reputation just to be indulged in this sexual emotion. And then when the emotional sex is harnessed and redirected to other lines, this motivating force may be used as a powerful creative force in any profession or calling. One thing that one needs to remember is that the transmutation of sex energy, this call for a strong willpower, and the desire of sex is natural and you should never submerge it. That just me reading of this note without me actually going into it. So let me just recap and catch up my trail of thoughts quickly. Okay, so now I'm gonna list you couple stimuli, because you need to first understand that the human mind works with stimuli. Okay, um, once your mind is start vibrate like through the stimuli, it help your mind, your thought to start vibrating on a higher frequency. And once you start your thoughts start vibrating a higher frequency, like we explained in the previous chapter of auto suggestion, I've explained that once your mind is vibrating in a high vibration state, it facilitates your connection with the infinity mind. And now I'm just gonna list 10 stimulus which helps your mind to actually make that connection. The stimulus number one is desire for sex expression. The second one is love. The third is a burning desire for fame, power, or financial gain. The fourth is music. The fifth is friendship between either um those of the same sex or the opposite sex. A 60 million is the mastermind alliance based on harmony of two or more people who are allied themselves for spiritual or temporal achievement, advancement. 7 is mutual suffering, such as expressed by two people who are persecuted. Um, 8 is auto-suggestion, which we just mentioned. 9 is fear, and 10 is cigarette or alcohol. Um, and when you can see on the list that the first 8 they are quite positive and natural constructive stimuli that you can use, and then the last 2 were are destructive, so you shouldn't be really using that much, although it can still help you make your mind vibrate in on the level that you need to make connection with the infinite intelligence, but it's not really recommended to use it all of the time. So it's best for you just to use the first 8 stimuli that we mentioned. Okay, so now the emotional sex, as you can see in the list, it was by great of one of the most intense and powerful of mind stimuli. The transmutation of this energy may actually lift you to the status of a geniusness. um First, I need to explain what is a genie, because I'm just using words here that I'm actually not explaining, because this word may have many meaning for different people. And when we say genie in for success, we simply mean it is a person that's discovered how to increase the vibration of his soul to the point where it can freely communicate with the souls that is not available through the ordinary rate of vibration. Okay, so the question that you should automatically pop to your head is, how one can communicate with the souls, which are only available to genie. And then the second question that you could be asking yourself will be, what are these known source of knowledge which are only available to genies? So I'll answer the question, the first question. You communicate with the source of knowledge by raising your photo vibrations through either the 8 stimuli which we shared with you, and the second answer to the question was the source of knowledge that is only available by genie, that is reached by the sixth sense. And this leads us to another question: is what is the sixth sense? And the sixth sense, according to Photo Success, your sixth sense is basically your creative imagination. And your creative imagination, the majority of people never uses this faculty, and even if they have used it, it's usually it happened by a mere accident. It's not something that they purposely willed to use. Okay, and those are people that voluntarily, with understanding, that uses these faculties, we refer to them as genie. And the faculty of creative imagination is the direct link between your infinite mind and the infinite intelligence. Like in religion, they refer to this creative faculty as um, revelations. When people in religions have a revelation, in another way, what they're trying to say is that they use the sixth sense to connect themselves to infinite intelligence and to get information which they are referring to as revelation. And all great discovery or invention takes place on this creative imagination, and this is why we in For a Success refer to the person that uses this faculty purposefully. We refer to them as a genius. Okay, so now we're gonna look at when ideas or concept flashes in your mind, which people usually call as hunches or inspiration. So we need to find out where does these hunches or inspiration come from, because understanding where they come from will fascinate you into tapping onto these venues to grab information and knowledge that you need. Okay, there are 4 ways or 4 sources that we believe in for success, and one of those sources are infinite intelligence, which we covered on the chapter of auto suggestion, where I shared with you ways on how to contact that infinite intelligence. Second is through one's subconscious mind, where the subconscious mind is where you store every sense of impression and thought impulses which reach your brain through any of the 5 senses. And the third form is from some other person who just released a thought or a picture, an idea, or a concept for his conscious thinking. Another way is for another person's subconscious storehouse. And these are the 4 ways which inspired ideas or hunches may be received. Okay, pardon me. So one important thing for you guys to remember is that the creative imagination function best when the mind is vibrating due to some form of mind stimulation at exceeding high rate. And when the mind or the brain has been stimulated through one or more of the 10 stimuli, it has an effect of lifting a mind above the horizon of ordinary thought, while excelling in planes of thought of creative faculty. And this is given freedom for action, and where has been cleared for the sixth sense to function, and the mind become receptive of idea which could not have been reached under any other circumstances. And the sixth sense is the faculty which marks the difference between a genie or an ordinary individual. Okay, so now we're just gonna look at how real life examples on how you can start developing and harnessing your sixth sense. First of all, you need to know, as any technique that we've been sharing here, your sixth sense will develop with regular practice, and by regular practice, constantly practicing, that's how you're gonna develop your sixth sense. Okay, so now I'm going to share a practical way of how you can access the sixth sense through the stimuli. Since on this chapter we are on the chapter of the mystery of sex transmutation, the stimuli that we're gonna use to get our brain to vibrate in those high rates so we can make contact with our sixth sense. The stimuli that we're gonna use in this time, it will be, you guessed it, the energy of sex. That's what we're gonna use. Okay, there are 3 different ways that you can get yourself sexually excited. So first step, you can either be with your partner, use your imagination, you can either use picture or watch videos to get yourself sexually excited. Okay, so once you find the best way that suits you, the idea is to get yourself in a mood of pleasure until you get to the point of no return. So without losing your urge, you should stop. That's first point. First point is to get yourself sexually aroused. Whatever means you're gonna use to get yourself sexually aroused, just use it and be aroused to the point of orgasm, but we don't want you to have an orgasm. So once you get to that point, stop, and then now we need you to transmute that energy. And the way that you transmute that energy is you switch your mind from your sexual pleasure into the vision or your desire or your goal, and you hold your mind up on your desire for up on 3 to 5 minutes while you are sexually intense. Then when you can clearly picture yourself being in possession of your desire for about 3 to 4 minutes, what I would like you to do now is transmute your thoughts back to your sexual activity. Then if you're using with your partner, now you can focus back on your partner, and then you can have your orgasm as normal. Okay, and after you finish having your orgasm, you should take that moment as a moment of rest where you just wait for idea to flash into your mind. Sometimes the results are actually definite and immediate. As soon as you finish, idea will literally pop up in your mind. You will be able to tell exactly what you wanted to know. At a time, the results are not what you expected, and don't be discouraged if from the first attempt it didn't work out as you expected it to work. By regular use and regular practice, you can actually harness this energy, and then you can start contacting your sixth sense. Okay, so another way you can transmit your sexual energy is by increasing your personal magnesium. And your personal magnesium is what makes people to be drawn to you. And by cultivating a proper understanding of this vital energy of your personal magnesium, you can actually use it for a great advantage. Okay, let me just explain how people even get drawn to you. So people get drawn to you by the full vibrations that you're releasing in your mind. That influences your aura. And then if people like the thought that you're releasing, that means you're gonna have an attractive aura, and that attractive aura will make people to be attracted to you. Okay, so in thought success, how you can use your sexual energy to actually increase your personal magnesium is by this way, because almost everybody have a desire for sex. So when you mix your thought with the emotion of sex, you will actually influence people around you, because everybody is um naturally think of sex, right? Everybody, we are all attracted to sex some form and another. So by you mixing your emotion of sex will actually make your aura or your personal magnesium appealing to either sex. It could be the opposite sex or the same sex. Either of them will be drawn into you, and that's why in Thought of Success we encourage all of our members to express themselves to the fullest, because we believe that life is to be enjoyed to the fullest. And the only question that I'm gonna raise now is that any access of any stimuli, let it be the cigarette or the alcohol, any excess of stimuli, even if the sex stimuli, any excess use of it could be dangerous for you. So we just want you to bear that in mind when you're gonna be using this sexual energy, when you be transmuting your sex energy for it to get ideas. Just bear in mind, excess use of it could actually cause you harm than good, because sex alone is a mighty urge for action, and sometimes it could be uncontrolled. And when the emotion of love is mixed with sex, the result is calmness of purpose, poise, accuracy of judgment, and balance. When man is driven upon the desire of sex alone, the man is usually capable to achieve greatness, but your action will be disorganized and totally destructive, because you're only driven by sex, you're not driven by love or anything like that. um I'm just gonna explain how your mind works, okay? Because our mind has its own chemistry of emotion, which operates similar with the chemistry of matter. It's well known that a chemist, by mixing certain element, it can actually create a deadly poison, and that is no difference with your human mind. Because if you mix certain emotion, like the emotion of hate and fear, if you mix that with the emotion of sex, you could actually create a deadly poison, because you will lose your sense of fairness, your sense of justice. That's why you see people that are so in love, they go and start killing the partner due of jealousy, because they are so intensely have a strong sexual desire for a person, and they mix that with hate, that actually cause them to become an insane beast, and they go and do those crazy things that we read in the news. So we strongly recommending for a success that you use your energy of sex with love and harmony, and you should be very careful with emotions such of hate and fear, because it will actually make you do crazy things than to do proactive things. Okay. um and then there is actually an easy way that you can transmute a negative emotion. Once a negative emotion, let it be of hate, presents itself to you, just simply switch your mind to a constructive emotion or a constructive thought. Just before I leave you, and I know the ladies will actually love this statement. Just before I leave, um I would just like to quote this. Man's greatest motivation is his desire to please a woman. Okay, that's why as male we are really motivated by our desire to make our woman happy. And then the woman who truly understand the nature of man, who could, this is why they say woman can make or break a man, because a woman that truly understand the nature of man can tactfully cater to it, and it will have no need to fear competition. Because if you truly know that your man is truly only driven to please you, once a man truly loves you, you will know that there is no competition, because every action that he does is predominantly to please you. So you should fear no other competition. Okay, so that's it for today. I will send the email to back up everything that I said and to give you bullet points of the practical aspect of how you can transmute your sexual energy. Next week we're gonna be looking at subconscious mind. This is another one of the powerful technique that we use is to reprogram your behavior and to reprogram your persona. And another spiritual aspect of a being. Like I said, the chapter we'll be covering now is going to be quite abstract, but hopefully you understand it, because your understanding of it is your ticket to join our success network society. So until next week, I wish you peace and